For centuries, people imagined Henry VIII resting in a grand, undisturbed tomb, a fitting monument for England's most formidable king. They were wrong. The truth, hidden beneath the stones of St. George's Chapel, is far darker. When the lost vault was finally reopened, it revealed a scene of shocking neglect and physical decay that defied every royal expectation. A body betrayed. Henry VIII spent his final years as a prisoner in his own rotting body. The athletic, charismatic youth had vanished, replaced by a monstrous figure who could barely move. Court reports describe a king so obese he needed mechanical contraptions to lift him from his bed. His legs were a map of agonizing, foul-smelling ulcers that poisoned the air. The mighty ruler who once jousted in gold now lived in a fog of pain and exhaustion. A ghost long before his death in 1547. A funeral of ill omen. His death presented a grim challenge. Tudor embalming, a crude art of spices, wine, and linen, was no match for a body already decomposing. His immense corpse was sealed in a lead-lined coffin, a measure meant to contain fluids, but which instead created a pressure cooker for the gases of decay. The omen came during his funeral procession at Sion Abbey. Dark, putrid fluid began to seep from the coffin and pool on the floor. Chronicles later claimed dogs licked at it, a horrifying symbol interpreted by many as divine judgment. The king was hurriedly placed in a temporary vault at Windsor, beside his third wife, Jane Seymour, with the promise of a magnificent tomb to come. The lost mega-tomb that promised was a grand illusion. Henry had dreamed of a tomb to dwarf all others, a mountain of black marble, festooned with gilded saints and prophets, topped with his own triumphant effigy. He had even seized the unfinished tomb of his fallen advisor, Cardinal Wolsey, for parts. For decades, artists toiled, and workshops filled with carved pillars and bronze statues. But the tomb was never built. Wars drained the treasury, and after Henry's death, his children had no interest in funding his colossal vanity project. The pieces were sold off, melted down for cannon, or scattered across Europe. The greatest royal tomb England never saw faded into myth, while Henry remained in the simple vault meant to hold him for only a few months. The vanishing vault, and then they forgot him. Because the burial was temporary, no marker was placed. As years turned to decades, renovations altered the chapel floor. The exact location of the vault slipped from memory. Worshippers and choristers walked directly over the remains of the king who changed a nation, completely unaware. A second king in the dark? The vault was rediscovered only by grim necessity. In 1649, after his execution, Parliament needed to hide the body of King Charles I quickly and quietly. Searching Windsor for a secure spot, officials stumbled upon the forgotten chamber. In a rushed, tense operation in the winter dark, they forced Charles's heavy-laid coffin inside the cramped space, violently shifting Henry's resting place in the process. The two kings, one who created the supreme monarchy, the other killed for trying to uphold it, were now locked in an eternal, ironic embrace. The disturbance likely cracked Henry's already strained coffin. The horrific discovery the vault was sealed again, only to be accidentally breached by workers in 1813. When lanterns were lowered, the sight stole the breath from all who saw it. Jane Seymour's coffin was neat and intact. Charles's was aged but stable. But Henry VIII's coffin was a catastrophe. It had collapsed at a violent angle, its lead casing split and buckled by immense internal pressure. Through a long tear, a thick leg bone was visible, forced outwards. On the dusty floor lay smaller bones fingers, perhaps scattered like ghastly confetti. Then the surveyors saw worse, an extra, unexplained cluster of human bones with no coffin or record. And nearby, a dark, ancient stain on the stone, the final resting place of the same fluid that had leaked at Sion Abbey 266 years before. The unanswered question, the vault is a forensic puzzle. The thick leg bone confirms the horrific accounts of Henry's diseased final years. The stray bones whisper of other, unknown tragedies. Were they a cleric disturbed during construction, or a victim of Tudor political terror secretly disposed of in the perfect hiding place? Henry VIII sought to control his legacy with a monument of eternal grandeur. Instead, his resting place became a scene of gruesome decay, chaotic neglect, and macabre mystery. The final question remains, hanging in the silent air of the chapel above. Should the vault be opened with modern science to solve these mysteries? Or should its dark secrets and the shattered king within finally be left in peace?